A few days ago, I saw a Russian YouTuber saying, 20 years ago, when I mentioned Chinese cars in Russia, the first things come out of mind are all kinds of copycats. Russians think that Chinese cars are all one-offs and are of extremely poor quality. Now Russians over 40 years old are still highly skeptical about Chinese cars. But the views of young people are different. There has been a huge change in the views of young people on Chinese products, and this change has gradually penetrated into the automotive field. Recently, the YouTuber found that there are more and more Chinese cars on the streets of Russia. There are already 700 dealers in Russia specializing in selling Chinese cars. There are also more and more Chinese car factories in Russia, such as Geely Automobile in Kaliningrad and GreatWall Motors in Tula. But is this really the case? Hi, everyone! Welcome to Auto Age. Before we started today's video, please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Okay, let's move on to today's topic. Let's first look at the Russian Sputnik news agency and radio's report from Moscow on August 23. According to the news released by Autostat, a Russian automobile market analysis agency, in the first 3 weeks of August this year, the total number of new cars sold by Chinese cars in Russia reached a record 26.4%. This is the largest share of a Chinese car brand since it entered the Russian market. For the first time, Chinese car companies surpassed South Korean car companies, with a share of 16.1%. The first place is still the Russian brand, accounting for 39%. As of the third week of August, 3 Chinese brands entered Russian top 5 car brand at the same time. They are followed by Haval, Geely and Chery. The leading car model is still the Lada Granta, with 2,529 units sold in 7 days. In second place was the Haval Jolion crossover with 546 units. The third is Lada Vesta, 486 units, and the fourth is Geely Binyu, 421 units. The fifth place is Chery Tiggo 7 Pro, with the sales of 398 units. In fact, in my opinion, this result is not surprising at all. After several American and European car companies have withdrawn from the Russian market, there has been a huge market gap here. In addition, the Russian media noticed that Chinese cars may be a perfect complement to this market in the future. Chinese auto companies will increase their share of the Russian market. Zhang Hanhui, China's ambassador to Russia, was quoted as saying, Ambassador Zhang Hanhui said, I believe that with the improvement of product quality and the enhancement of brand influence, Chinese cars will further expand their market share in Russia and become more and more popular with the help of self-improved production chain, scientific researchability and production capacity. This year, unlike European and American brands, Chinese automakers have not only not cancelled or delayed deliveries of orders to Russia, but have also not delayed the presentation of new models. People from the Russian auto industry are also optimistic about the performance of Chinese cars in the Russian market. Roman Slutsky of Alarm Motors said Chinese brands have become more attractive to Russians as dealers have a significantly reduced choice of car brands. The price advantage of Chinese brands will be more obvious when other brand owners have no new cars to deliver in the next 4 to 6 months. I suddenly remembered that in March of this year, an article by the Russian Liberty Media, the title is, China's auto industry will not give the West a chance to return to the Russian market. Chinese car companies could take over the Russian market that Western car brands vacated overnight. Currently, Chinese-made cars are already on par with European brands in quality, but at much lower prices. And Western cars have been facing some worsening problems, a global parts shortage and shutdowns at major factories. Before the start of the year, Avtostat had predicted a 10 to 15% shortage of cars on the Russian market. At present, due to sanctions imposed on Russia by some countries, some large automakers, Nissan, Toyota, Kia, Hyundai, operating in Russia are forced to close their production lines in Russia. This will further aggravate the shortage of automobiles in the Russian market. Therefore, the growth of Chinese automobile sales in Russia will continue for a long time. There are also relevant reports in China. Xinhua Finance and Economics Moscow reported on July 6 that data released by Autostat, a Russian auto industry analysis agency, showed that in June this year, a total of 6,875 Chinese brand cars were sold in Russia, accounting for 21% of the Russian market share, a record high. The data show that the share of Chinese branded cars in the Russian market has been increasing in the past 3 months. In the first 3 months of this year, Chinese brand cars accounted for 9.5% of the Russian market, rising to 12.6% in April and 16.9% in May. In general, the term Chinese car has long lost its negative connotations in Russia and has become very popular in the local market. In recent decades, China's auto industry has developed rapidly. Chinese car companies have been able to produce various models of cars. At the same time, China is the main producer of electric vehicles in the world, and the current world economic turmoil will definitely promote the development of new energy vehicles. Therefore, this is also an opportunity to fully showcase the Chinese brand. Almost 99% of all electric and hybrid buses in the world today are produced in China. Last year, China sold 3.5 million new energy vehicles, almost as many as the entire Russian market. However, Russia is actually quite vigilant about the unknowing rise of Chinese brands. In order to save the market for the local brand, they even allowed Lada to be able to sell the new Granta without ABS, ESP, and airbags when it was reintroduced in order to get rid of the dependence on overseas parts. This really reflects their stubbornness on the one hand, and on the other hand, it reflects the embarrassment of the weakness of the Russian auto industry. As for this situation, some industry insiders actually keep neutral about the prospects of the Chinese brand in the Russian market. The Russian economy is unstable, especially to learn from the discriminatory policies of the early Russian crackdown on Chinese car companies. Around 2008, Chinese automobiles were booming in Russia and performed exceptionally well. However, Russia has taken an extremely vicious attitude towards Chinese companies, targeting and suppressing Chinese-made cars, especially by adopting a policy of imposing tariffs on Chinese exports, which directly drove Chinese car companies out of the Russian market. In addition, the Russian market regulations are not sound and all aspects of the system are complicated. However, at present, Chinese car companies in Russia have indeed ushered in a very good development opportunity, which is full of challenges and risks. Whether it is worth the great efforts of major Chinese manufacturers to fight for it is still a question worth thinking about. If you have any opinions on this, you can also leave a message in the comment area. As for how Chinese car companies will end up in the Russian market, I will always keep an eye on them and share them with you in a timely manner. Thanks for watching. Bye.